What is going on with ghostly Dr. Walker?
Was coffee right? Is Dory walking with the devil?
And is there really a difference between egg rolls and lumpia? Come on.
We're going to answer all those questions and break down the latest 2 episodes of The Terror Devil in Silver on the
IceCold
podcast about the terror.
You ever think there's some...
Hey everybody, my name's Bubba, and with me as always is somebody on the IceCold podcast who hates cops who act like ICE officers. It's Catfish.
Yes, Bubba, I am pleased to be with someone whose face is droopier than Dr. Walter.
What do you mean? Hey guys, we're breaking down episode 3 entitled New York in June and episode 4 entitled A Number of the System. These are the middle 2 episodes of Here the Terror Devil in Silver, which is the 3rd season of this anthology show. On this podcast, we're going to be checked into New Hyde Psychiatric Hospital. We are going to go down hallways that we're not supposed to go to. We're going to enter tunnels that don't exist, and we're going to find out what's sane and what isn't in this crazy show. Catfish, we're doing 3 podcasts covering the Terror Devil in Silver.
Ooh.
For these middle 2 episodes, what is your rating out of 10?
Well, Bubba, you didn't respond to my question about which one, so I had 2 different double Ds. I'm going to say I'm going to give this 9 double Ds out of 10.
Wait, double Ds?
That's right. That's devilish Dory. She's in league with the devil, Bubba.
Terrible.
Bubba, this, where we are right now, when this show is going on and Widow's Bay is going on, this is a great time for horror, both on television and in the movies. Bubba, as we sit here on May 31st, 2026, we have this movie called Obsession out.
Yes.
Obsession, it opened, it did well. The second weekend, it made more than the first weekend. The third weekend, it made more than the second weekend. The last movie to achieve that feat, Bubba, was E.T. E-frickin' T.
Also this incredibly scary. Also very
This was made by a 26-year-old for $1 million.
Hey, that's my age.
After 3 weeks, it now has grossed $104 million in the U.S. And it is good, and it is super dark. Although for my deep horror fans, it could have had an even deeper ending like this crazy movie called Saint Maud. Bubba?
Catfish, I thought we were talking about Terror Devil.
Hold on. This weekend, Back Rooms, a movie made by a 20-year-old YouTuber.
Hey, that's my age.
Yes, and it made, on Friday night, it made enough to be the greatest opening weekend for an A24 movie made for $1 million and made $81 million. Bubba, this is a golden age of horror, and I've got to say, I am picking it up here in this one. In episodes 3 and 4, we got a lot more scares. It was truly creepy. This is amazing. I love how everything is coming together. They are really leaning into Pepper being an a-hole. His son shows up. He's like, I need some money to cremate your mom. And Pepper's like, I'm so glad you're here because I need you to get me out of here.
Right.
There you go. A lot. And
instead of giving you money, son, I'm going to blow you off so I can escape this place on our trip to Sal's Pizza.
So good. And Bubba, we got to see amazing. We got to see it's all coming together. A Buffalo quarter. If anybody remembers, in 2005, every state got its own quarter, and the Kansas quarter had a buffalo on it. Bubba, I am loving where this show is going. It's bothering me less and less. Dan Stevens' horrible New York accent. But that's me, Bubba. We always say, nobody cares what we think. We care what you think. So, Bubba, we're asking everybody to tell us what they think. Now, our next section is called Social... What happened?
You said everybody. There's one person who you didn't ask what they think about the show, about these 2 horror movies in theaters, or about Dan Stevens' accent.
Oh, that's what you're getting at. I didn't understand. Bubba, what did you rank? How did you rank these 2 episodes?
Well, Governor, what I rated them was 8 out of 10 double Ds.
Double D's.
8 out of 10 double D's.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, double D's.
Dead decaf. Those cops wanted coffee decafed, and they decafed him. Terrible. Tragic. Catfish, you mentioned it.
I'm so glad we waited for that.
We are covering the terror Devil in Silver right now. At the same time, we're covering another horror show called Widow's Bay. You and I both love Widow's Bay, but let's give it up to Terror Devil in Silver.
Let's do it.
The scares in these most recent episodes are better than the scares in the recent episodes.
Absolutely.
Let me say, a bit like the novel that this season is based on, and I did read the novel, The Devil in Silver, not every scene is focused on scares and horror. You know, it's not always the main focus. Sometimes it really is the characters. Sometimes it's, hey, our inmates are plotting to escape. But I think that's fine. As somebody who read the novel, I think this has been really good. I think it's scarier than the novel. That said, and I'll get to this in my book talk, they are rearranging the events in the novel, probably because it was written as a novel, not as 6 episodes of a TV series. So sometimes they rearrange stuff, and I'm like, how are they going to explain why they're doing it here? And I think there's been some maybe narrative trickiness in it, but the scares are there. If you are a fan of creepy horror, dark horror, well, don't go down that hallway. This has been incredible. And so a incredible improvement over the first 2, which I thought were good. This has officially become really good. That's my thought.
They really picked it up. I completely agree with you, which is why, once again, I'm puzzled when you say such great things about a show and then you give it an 8.
Well, because, like I said, I think some of that narrative mix-up, you know, like, why did they? You tell me, why did they take the patients to Saul's Pizzeria in these episodes? Why did they go?
It is a little confusing, considering you think you would do one thing or the other. If you're going to dope them to the gills, you don't really need to take them to a pizzeria.
Yes,
that was a we need to chill everybody out. Let's give them a field trip.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about more in my book section, which comes up near the end of this podcast. But in the novel, this is a light novel spoiler. So you guys remember how this series opened with Miss Chris and Scotch Tape having to break a patient's limbs to get him through the door?
Yeah.
That actually happened at this point in the story. And so one of the reasons why they were taking all the patients to Saul's Pizzeria was to get them away from seeing this dead patient wheeled out. So again, I just think there's some awkwardness in it. But the scares are, how about this? The scares are 9 out of 10, and we'll get to it in a second. In fact, heck, to hell with it. Let's get to it right now.
Oh, you're going crazy. And we're really off the rails. Let's do it.
We are. So what was the best scare in these 2 episodes, Catfish? Was it your boy, Dr. Walter, whose dreamy eyes are so effing creepy? Was it the dead cop showing up for a casual convo?
Right, I'm like, is that the cop? No, that's not the cop. And then, holy F, that is the cop. Holy cow. Bubba, there's the liminal space where Dr. Walter does what I'd like to call some immersion trauma therapy.
He does.
And then, Bubba, a scary idea, although not a scene. Dr. Walter wants out of this S-hole.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
Whoa.
Oh, man.
Whoa.
Oh, man. So, okay, I think there are a couple other scares, and I'll go ahead and tell you that my best scare in these 2 episodes, the moment where I was like, oh, hell no. So Pepper is in that dreamscape. His buddies, Coffee and Lucci, are trying to get in and rescue him. They know that, oh, wait a minute, there's like another entrance of the silver door around the corner. So they're fighting, and suddenly you hear this as a door opens, and you're like, oh no. And then Coffee and Lucci are peering around the corner, and it's like, oh, the door is open. Oh, no. Oh, my goodness. That was some stuff like, you know, that is the time when you need the brown pants, like where Coffee and Lucci should be running to get away. Instead, Coffee, because he has this desire to show it to me, I want to see it, show it to me, he went into that silver door. Oh my God, creepy, scary. For me, in these 2 episodes, that was a pinnacle, awesome, scary moment. Okay, I've gone on. All right. What about you?
You certainly have. I'm going to say after that is when when Coffee is trying to fight through the gunk to get through. He gets through the door.
Oh my!
And then he gets got by these trigger-happy SOBs.
Oh my Lord!
Who, Bubba, if there's any justice, they're going to die more horrifically than anybody else.
They need to be taken to see Dr. Walter, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely, Bubba. All right, well, listen. Yep. We've got to do this section before the Double H.
Double H?
Yeah, the hysterical horror, what I like to call the funniest bits of the episode.
Okay, sure.
Okay, and so they're talking to our boy Pepper.
Hey, it's me, Pepper.
The nice resident there. He says, one of the staff restrained you, and Pepper says, one of the staff has fur, huh? And then when our boy Stephen Root is like talking about the new books, and want to guess what I've got? And somebody says, burial plot brochures.
Oh, gee.
And then this was in Bo's section. Dr. Walter, even he wants out of this place because it's such a crap hole now. He's like, this place is gone to seed. And then, of course, the amazing name for this serious plan they got, Operation Booty Juice.
When you are going to take care of the devil who's attacking and injuring everybody, you take away some of his power. You know how names have power? But instead of calling him the devil, calling it Operation Booty Juice, that may have taken away their own power because they could not do it.
I agree.
Oh, man. I think this show doesn't have the laughs that Widow's Bay does.
No.
But Operation Booty Juice, which is not in the novel this is based on, I love that name. That is one way you can get us loving these characters. We know these characters have a lot of serious issues, right? Like Coffee and Lucci, we saw them when they go off their meds, they're not too well. They're not good on their meds either. But how do we as viewers get connected with them? Operation Booty Juice. Chef's kiss, let's roll. That's me. What was your Double H?
Bubba, I have got to say, because this is when things kick into gear. We know that our lead here, Pepper, isn't going to let himself be trampled over anymore. And so when he replies, one of the staff has fur, huh? I laugh because I was like, all right, this is what we need. We need someone to be like, all right, we're going to take care of business here. I mean, it is very funny, though, that Dr. Walter's like, man, I'm better than this joint now.
These two episodes are giving us what you would call diametrically opposed versions of the evil, the devil, the patient behind that silver door. So I want to know from you.
Okay.
Based on 4 episodes.
Okay.
Like you heard, I'm pretty sure Miss Chris was talking about him when she was talking to her relative. She's like, hey, there's a patient there. Nobody's ever visited him. He can be violent, but you know what? He's never hurt me. And you're like, wait, what? That makes it okay. What are you doing, Miss Chris?
Yeah, because he sees the God in her.
Thank you. Then there is Dory, who's like, hey, he could be our friend. And you're like, what the hell, Dory? And then your Coffee, who is like, listen, this is an evil force. This is a terror. So you tell me, tell me about the patient behind that silver door, the entity behind that silver door. What's going on there?
I have no idea.
That is fascinating. We talk amongst ourselves, joke amongst ourselves all the time. But if you are into this creepiness, if you are into this terror, we've seen this tall, dark figure that stands in Lucci's room and watches her sleep, which Dory says, well, he knows you're not trying to leave, so he's fine with it. We have seen the buffalo attack. We have seen a lot of the hideous arms out of the ceiling. They all seemingly are this devil in silver. But then, once again, you've heard that this is an old patient who's been there, I believe, before Miss Chris even joined. So what do you think behind the silver door?
What if it is Stephen Root's character who seems to have disappeared, and their concern about him disappearing doesn't match up with my supposition from our last podcast that he was in the hospital, unless he's just as I said, he could be an outpatient in the hospital, in which case they still seem like they'd have a little concern for him. There's still something wacky going on with the Stephen Root character. And because he's been played kind of for laughs, whatever, I think he's going to end up being more important than we think.
I would like to remind you, in episode 3, Dr. Badger, he's trying to get the nurse there, Patricia, or no, sorry, my mind's on Patricia. Dr. Badger is trying to get Nurse Josephine. He's like, I noticed that these patients have injuries. Pepper has injuries. Have you reported it? And she's kind of like, wait, why do I have to report it? You're a doctor. It's like everybody is passing the buck. Dr. Anan, who is truly, it does some terrible things, I think, in this episode. What's his big fear? I can't lose my job. Like, helping people is less important than me keeping my job. I think that is a weird statement going on there at New Hyde Hospital. Holy smokes.
Well, Bubba, you know what I like about the nurse?
Okay.
Is that, she makes me want to eat spinach and then do lines of cocaine.
Okay, that was the, I believe that was, what director made that version?
All right, Bubba,
Yeah.
we've got to go through we have to cover it. Who among the patients is Looney Tunes?
Yep.
And who among the patients is what I like to call regular tunes?
Regular tunes. Okay, so let's go with the main character we did last week at the beginning too, our main point of view, the new patient there at New Hyde, Pepper. Is Pepper a Looney Tunes or regular tunes?
I think Pepper is regular tunes. I think we got some real help this week.
Real help.
Real help. I think when everyone went off the medications and they did their trip to Sal's Pizzeria, we got a real clear picture on which of them is regular tunes and Looney Tunes. Bubba, I'm just gonna say Pepper and Lucci. They're regular tunes, and all the rest of them are Looney Tunes.
Okay, I think you're coming up to a good point here, Kev.
Okay.
Pepper and Lucci, you said they're regular tunes.
Yeah, regular tunes.
What about when they're on their medication?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, Lucci, she's like, I don't need to get out of here, so whatever. I ain't taking those medications. So, seems like she's regular tunes when she's off the medications. The heavy duty medication, the kind that you would need to fly anywhere, probably make them a little Looney Tunes.
Okay, Catfish. So let's go to the next part of it. You say every other character, and I believe you mean patient, is a Looney Tune.
I do.
And does need help.
Yeah.
Did any people who really do need medication to be balanced, or however you want to say it?
Yeah.
Did anybody seem better when they all were like, hey, this is a jailbreak, let's get off our medication? Like, was Dory better? Was Coffee better? So they do need their medication. Is that what?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
What about the staff? So let's go back to Mrs. Chris. Her daughter's right. Why are you going to this dump? Didn't she have a bruise on her friggin' face?
Yeah.
Why are you doing this? And is she also somebody, you would think certainly a nurse like Miss Chris could get another job, but instead, the devil, the person behind the silver door, she's like feeling sorry for them. Is that because she's kind of slightly gone Looney Tunes, or because she's regular tunes? You tell me.
No, I think I think she's regular tunes.
Okay.
Just her explanation. These people need it. Well, you know what? It's a little tough when she says, "Listen, it all depends on whether how deep you believe in God." When somebody says, "I don't get hurt because this wackadoo sees the God in me," that is a little concerning.
Oh, I think it's very concerning. How about Dr. Anan? Dr. Anan, who he's like, all he cares about is the board, right? Oh my God, the board's going to see this. The board's going to do this. Is he at all Looney Tunes, or is that kind of like a regular fear anybody would have if you're in a business, if you work at a place that could go under in any minute? Is that like a regular irrationality or fear that could come up and make you do illogical things at times?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think he is. I think he's regular tunes.
Okay.
I just don't. I'd like to know what else he's doing. He only comes around to complain. You guys aren't doing this. You guys aren't doing that. And
No
anyway,
cell
what is he
phones.
doing? What is he doing?
What is he doing? Wonderful question. Listeners, if you have some thoughts, go down in the comments on YouTube. Let us know. If you're listening on audio podcast, reach out to us on social media at Double PHQ. That's the word double, the single letter P for podcast, HQ for headquarters, at Double PHQ. Catfish, I have one more character that I want to know if they're Looney Tunes or if they're regular tunes.
Okay,
And
let's hear it.
That is Pepper's son. Pepper's son, who doesn't even have Pepper's name. Remember, he's like, hey, I don't have your name. He obviously, his father, Pepper, has not been a part of his life at all. He is going to what he knows is a psychiatric hospital and asking this dad, this, absentee father, for $3,000. Is that regular tunes or Looney Tunes?
I just gotta say, I think he's probably intermediate tunes, simply because the way he had to grow up. No father. The mother had issues. It was probably passed around a lot. I would have to say, he's intermediate tunes, but that's as good as tunes as you could expect for his childhood.
All right, well done. I said that was the last character. I got one for you. So you said Dory.
Mm-hmm.
Dory was Looney Tunes. That's your thought.
Oh, yeah.
Is she Looney Tunes like fun, wacky Bugs Bunny hijinks? Or is she in league with the devil? Oh, my Lord. This is like, this is like Cool World starring Brad Pitt evil tunes. Let's see.
Yeah, no, she's... I mean, you know what? She just, it's a simple designation, Looney Tunes and regular tunes. But look, if you ask me to describe her more in detail, I'm going to call her Wackadoo tunes.
Wackadoo tunes.
She wackadoo.
Oh, man. What do you guys think of Dory? Dory seems so sweet, motherly, grandmotherly.
She did. She really took a turn here.
Oh, boy. She follows Dr. Walter, and not good.
It's funny, this is a change, right? But before, in the first two episodes, we thought, oh, the person who is going to be in league with Dr. Walter was Coffee. But Coffee's the one who's like, no, we gotta stop this.
100%.
He's no longer afraid. And Dory's so far into Toonland, she's like, no, he'll help us. Wow.
She's got a penthouse in Toontown, that's for sure. Holy smokes. What do you guys think? Were you destroyed by the tragedy of Coffee? Let us know. All
right, but it's interesting because, I feel like the first two seasons of this was leaning more on this is a horrible situation for these people, and it's just added to a little bit by the supernatural.
Yeah.
Like, really, those stories are more saying, like, the situation is worse because the humans are making it worse for each other. And then there's just a little soupçon of supernatural. And this one, maybe because it's based off just a real horror book, it's really the supernatural that is worse than what human beings do to each other. I'm not saying that's not part of it here, the way people are treated in these, shuffled off to these places and maltreated, but the supernatural is more trouble here.
Well, Catfish, I want to piggyback on that and say that if everybody saw the first season of The Terror, based on the novel The Terror by Dan Simmons, there was supernatural, there was a horrific environment, but there was also a purely evil character in Hickey. We all remember Hickey because of how evil he really was. In the second season,
well, and also the situation. I mean, based on a true story about the Terror and the Erebus stuck there, not just from the horrible people, but the environment they were stuck in.
Right. So then I want to go to season 2. It was a terrible environment in the Terror Infamy, season 2, based around Japanese internment camps. So that's a terrible environment, but there was also a completely evil person, and that is the star of Soul Man, C. Thomas Howell's camp military leader, right? The camp leader, the camp boss. He was an actual evil human. What is so far true about season 3 is that, once again, the environment, the location is horrific. This run down, dirty, we can't afford a new mattress that's bloody, just flip it over. That is a terrible environment. But I'm not sure we have where's our Hickey? Where's our evil person? Or is it the cops? But they seem, while they do completely evil, horrific things, it almost feels not from being evil inside, just being stupid and ignorant inside, right? So are we missing an evil human being? And is that possibly Dory? Is that possibly Dr. Anon, because he's not trying to really stop all this? I don't know. What do you think?
I don't think so. I think it's fine to me And again, I mean, I know you noted that for you, the first two seasons were horrible, a single horrible person. And for me, it was people in horrible situations that were so bad that would test anybody and crush anybody. And then there was that little bit of supernatural. So I'm not focused on one horrible person here, but as I said, I do think the supernatural is more of a villain than the situation. Unlike the first two.
I agree with that. Okay. Listeners, boy, we occasionally get very serious, and hopefully that felt like a serious discussion of these 3 seasons of this anthology series. And so now let's stay maybe a little bit less serious. And Catfish, we call this podcast Ice Cold. Because the first season was set in an ice cold environment and there was a lot of ice cold disses. Season 2 had some ice cold disses. So in episodes 3 and 4, Catfish, let's hear it. What is your best ice cold put down in these 2 episodes?
Well, for the first 2 episodes, it was really literal put downs, people being smacked down. But we had some really good verbal ice cold put downs. Yeah. Okay, first of all, Pepper's son, when he shows up, and this one was beautiful, chef's kiss to it. He says to Pepper, I used to think you were too good for us, but now I see we dodged a bullet. Holy cow. Ouch. Ouch.
Oh, but true? Probably true?
Absolutely true. Man, and then Miss Chris, also known through excellent spelling correction, CCH Plunder. Her daughter says to her, hey, listen, I work in a hospital. A real hospital. Oh. Holy cow. Ouch. Thanks a lot, Mom, for all you did for me. And then the corporate board misspelled Dr. Anand's name on his trophy.
Ouch. And then ice cold.
That's ice cold. And then Pepper's like, Pepper's girlfriend Marisol is like, you know what? I can't really text you, so the next worst way I can break up with you is just over the phone.
Well, that is ice cold, Catfish. Have you ever been has somebody ever broken up with you over the phone?
Gosh, I did have a really horrible breakup where right after I got broken up with, the girl I was seeing got engaged to someone else.
Oh, my Lord. Ice cold.
That was ice cold. Okay, I can't remember how she broke up with me.
Catfish, but for your story, I'm giving it to Marisol. He broke up with Pepper over the phone. Oh, my Lord.
But at least she didn't say, and by the way, I'm getting married. Oh. All right, I'm going to have to go for it. Pepper's heartfelt reunion with his son, where his son wanted something, Pepper wanted something else. And the son says, I used to think you were too good for us, but now I see we dodged a bullet. Holy cow. Way to just smack him across the face. Pepper, you ain't worth garbage.
Ice cold. Oh, man. Listeners, did we miss an ice cold put down? We certainly saw an ice-like put down from those evil cops and what they did to Sweet Coffee at the end of episode 4. But hey, we want to know it. Interact with us. We're going to read your feedback in a bit. And so many good ice cold put downs. Like when they misspell your name on a trophy, they really don't give crats. Now, Catfish, we are in a psychiatric hospital, so let's go to our next segment where we lay down on the couch and we ask you to look and search your feelings, search your thoughts, and probe your mind and your feelings to answer the question. The question this week, Catfish, is, was R.I.P. Coffee's death preordained? I want to talk about the hints about it from like the world.
All right.
Dory, who was not a fan of Operation Booty Juice and the plan to take care of the devil behind the silver door, she told Coffee, Pepper, and Lucci, said, you do this, you're going to get yourself killed. Coffee wheels Pepper up to the silver door. This is earlier, obviously before it. Behind the silver door, he's saying, hey, it's the devil. It will keep hurting you until you comply or die. Coffee was not complying, and sure enough, he did die. Coffee gave up all his quarters. This is a man who's always like, can I have a quarter? Can I have a quarter? Because he wants to call people. He wants to call the president, right? And let them know the evil that's happening in this hospital. when you give up your quarters, is that giving up your life? And then, of course, cops are on this show. So was it preordained that cops are going to shoot an innocent person? Look down, search your feelings, lay down on the couch. Was Coffee's death preordained?
I'm going to say no, Bub. I'm going to take it point by point.
Oh.
Dory told Coffee, Pepper, and Lucci, you'll get yourselves killed. As far as I can tell, Pepper and Lucci, they're still fine.
But Dory's only 33.33% right.
It'll keep hurting you to comply or die. Once again, that's the same kind of thing. There's a bunch of people non-compliant now. They're still alive.
For sure.
And the only reason Coffee gives up his quarters is because he realizes he's got to take care of itself. No, he's not going to get anybody to pay attention. And then the fourth reason, oh, no, you're right. The cops are involved. He was a black man. They were going to kill him for sure. Okay, God. I agree now. I completely contradict myself. Your first 3 points, evidence against it. Point number 4, I got to agree.
Well, was he carrying a silver fork? Is silver the true evil in this show? Put away your dimes.
He's got a knife. Yeah, right. Okay, plant a knife on him.
Oh, my God. These idiot cops. Probably the best one got a hole in his head, and hopefully these two...
I want something really bad to happen.
Show solidarity. Okay, well, Catfish, now it's time for something I like to call the Triple B.
A Triple B?
It's Bubba's book blathering. Both you and I had read...
Or Bubba's book bitching.
Yeah, fair enough. Both you and I had read The Terror by Dan Simmons. I thought, well, hey, this third season here is based on a novel. I'll read it. So I'm going to talk briefly. These are only kind of book spoilers.
Okay.
They may affect the show. They may not. But I think they would be interesting if anybody's interested in the novel and in how something gets adapted. I already talked about how this was written as a novel. This wasn't written to be 6 individual chunks of episodes. So they do rearrange stuff like I mentioned. But the other thing, and Catfish, you called it a horror novel, and it is definitely a horror novel, but it's a horror novel where, once again, it's not always focused on, hey, there's a scary monster. There are almost what you would call side missions and side stories about, hey, is Pepper going to escape on this trip to the pizzeria?
Okay, Operation Booty Juice. Yep.
Right. Is he going to help the other patients by, getting them off, the people who need to be off their meds? He really is trying to bond with Coffee and Lucci and even Dory to a bit. And there are disagreements between the staff. I mentioned how Dr. Badger was going to Josephine and saying, hey, somebody's got to do this. So the book does have an awful lot of that.
The only thing I'll say is, and again, I shake my head that you went on to read the book, because then it feels like you're just going to critique the show based on the book rather than for itself. But one other thing I will ask, the only thing so far that didn't quite work for me in the show, and I wonder if it's different in the book, I didn't sense enough of a turnaround for Pepper that he would have gone back to the pizzeria. And so that, to me, was not sold very well in the show. What was it sold better in the book?
Well, this is where we're going to have to get to how the story has been rearranged. So Operation Booty Juice happens as a way they go. So they want to take out the devil behind the silver door, the person who's injuring them. They want to take out this monster, the buffalo monster. And so they also want to escape. The trick is that one of the old, the 2 senior patients, Statler and Waldorf, one of them mentions to Pepper, like, hey, even if you get out of here, they've got all your information. They'll track you down and get you. Now, the one trick, which the show is not focused on, but you could maybe guess from it, is that this is such a rundown facility that they really are still running on a lot of paper documents. So what ends up happening is Pepper, he thinks, well, before I even try to escape, I've got to get to my file. And if I can destroy those paper documents, they won't be able to find me, right?
Okay.
So he won't. So he has that kind of goal. And what ends up happening, without going too detailed into spoilers, is that Operation Booty Juice of taking down the devil behind the silver door. And Pepper kind of has that choice. It's the Do I help my friend Coffee as he's about to go try to get to the devil in silver? Or I have this moment now where I can get my paperwork and destroy it, so they really won't be able to find me because they're having trouble in the book entering things into the computer system. There's a bad software program, like yada, yada, yada. And so that's where Pepper really has his what you would call flee or fight moment, right? Like he can fight with his friends against the devil in silver, or he can get his paperwork, destroy it, so then he can flee. And so that moment happens there. And the long story short is he does like Coffee enough where if he thinks Coffee is going to get destroyed by the devil in silver. And so you understand, or at least I did in the novel, why in that case he's like, oh my God, here's my files. Like literally it's going to be in one of these two drawers. I can find it. Oh my goodness, Coffee is having this confrontation with the devil in silver. And so that's when he chooses to quote unquote be a good guy and go back. Right?
Okay.
So that's the equivalent of his, hey, I'm going to escape now. The one other thing that I wanted to talk about this week is that on the last podcast about episodes 1 and 2, I mentioned that there were 3 kind of moments or things in this book that I thought really made it good. And I thought it might be true at the time, but now that we've got to see episode 4, I realized that they've kind of cut this storyline entirely. So the big thing I want to get to is that we've been talking about Pepper's girlfriend, Marisol. Mm-hmm. And I had already mentioned on the first podcast how she never comes to visit. But more specifically, in the book, she breaks up with him immediately. Why does she break up with him? Because of what he did to her ex. Remember how in the first episode he gets and he's punching her ex? Mm-hmm. She is a teacher. She is furious. She said, he's like, I was defending you. He could get violent again. She's like, Pepper, that's my workplace, the school. I have 2 men fighting on the steps of the school. She's worried about getting fired. She's just doesn't trust Pepper because of the person he is. And she breaks up with him immediately then. And she's kind of out of the story then. Now, in some ways, that's almost a foreshadowing or a theme. Here, Pepper's girlfriend, Marisol, is so afraid of how it makes her look at her job. And one thing she can't do is lose her job, is that's mirrored with all these people who work at New Hyde and how, they won't almost report things because I don't want to lose a job. I don't want this place to close down. So because Marisol doesn't exist in the book, Pepper has a romance with a character who's not on the show, but who was in the book. And that romance with this character, I don't want to say too much about it in case some of you listeners do read the book. That romance ended up being great. And almost the end to that romance actually ties into Coffee's story a bit. And it was such a beautiful tie into Coffee's story that I thought, oh man, that's really sweet. That's very magical almost. And now that, we're, 66% of the way through this series, I'm like, okay, Pepper is not having a romance. And so it's a bit heartbreaking. And as tragic as Pepper's passing was on the show, it's just as tragic in the book. However, it does have this almost little magical button because of this thing that ends up happening with the woman.
You mean Coffee's passing? Sorry,
Coffee. Yes, forgive me. Coffee's passing is so tragic, but it has this little almost magical, sweet button that ties into the Pepper romance story that isn't in the book. So
I don't know. It just feels weird. I mean, with only 6 episodes,
yes, this
even if Marisol had broken up with him right away, it would seem a little bit like. Yeah, no, he's just moving on. All right, then.
100%. Well, 100% Catfish. And I would say that the final thing I guess I'll say is guess who's a character who's not in the book? Pepper's son.
Okay.
So they had Pepper suddenly have Marisol, his girlfriend. She didn't break up with him until this set of episodes. And the son has been like this kind of sin, one of the original sins in Pepper's life that's been haunting him a bit. Those are elements that were not true in what I gave, I think, a 4-star on Goodreads book review. So,
okay.
So, if you like this show, and hopefully you like the show, you're listening to our podcast. And once again, the scares in this are great. The book is fun, but it is different enough that you could still enjoy it as well. That's my book report, my book bitchin' for this week.
All right, Bubba, let's get back to our feedback. First, we have Kitty Chibi Kitty Chibi Waifu.
Exactly.
Said, I really hope this season is good. I watched all of them, and the first one still beats all of them. The first one, so good.
Yeah, the first season. Well, Kitty, right back to us. Hopefully, I think you just jumped into our video because you saw we were covering it. Maybe you haven't watched some of the episodes yet. Let us know if you've watched these episodes and if you're feeling strong on it, like we are at this point, or if you're still thinking, boy, season 1 is the best. Thank you so much.
All right, Dooley's left leg says, I'm hyped this just for the accent.
Heck yeah.
Fugazi Fushmazi. And then he says something I can't even pronounce. Loving the show up to now. Yeah.
Get the hell puts
Okay, sure. Accent hadn't been a problem, but now I'm going to notice it so much. Laughing, crying emoji. Thanks for that. Matthew Murdoch says, please
buddy.
never use these accents again. LOL, love you guys. But Zephycat says, I'm not watching this show, but can never miss your podcast, so here I am. And hyped you, of course. Thanks you so much, Zephyr. She says, both of your New York accents are terrible.
What?
So for the love of God, please keep doing them.
Wait, what?
Zephyr says, I need Catfish to elaborate on the Bubba speaking in tongues story. This is one of our European trips.
Yep.
It was I don't even know why you needed it, because we were on the we weren't flying, which I hate to do, but we were on a train, and you wanted to sleep. So
we were on an overnight train.
Yeah, overnight
Paris
train
to Venice, and this room we were in, like they don't make these train cars anymore. I think this train car also went out of business, but it was this beautiful room that we had. And so the one thing about sleeping on a train is it does rock a little bit. So Catfish gave me this medicine to help me sleep. And let me say, when I went to sleep, I woke up the next morning and the train was pulling into Venice. And so I thought, boy, that really helped me sleep. Catfish, though, said, oh, boy, all night you were speaking in tongues. I'm like, wait, what?
Oh, yeah. You were just going, basically, that needs to be in season 4 to Tara, because that was frightening.
Catfish, do you actually even know what that drug you gave me was?
Oh, God, I stopped taking those. They weren't even really for sleeping. I think it was my mom's pills. They were for allergies or decongestant or something. And I would take them sometimes and wake up in my chair the next morning after watching TV. But they would make me a little angry the next day, so I stopped. But, whatever would work for Bubba. Put him to sleep and access his demon.
It was like you were giving me the mushrooms from Willow's Bay, Catfish. How could you?
All right, Bubba. Well, look, we only got one more of these here podcasts for the Terra left. We're going to be covering the final 2 episodes, Vermilion and Starry Night.
Listeners, we are doing this for fun, mainly because this show is so good and scary, and we had covered the 2 previous seasons. But the big thing, we want to hear from you. If you're on YouTube, we need a like. We need a subscribe. We need you to go down in those comments. If you're listening on audio podcasts, do us a solid. Subscribe to audio podcasts. Give us a written review. Look for Double P Podcasts wherever you find podcasts. And you can find us on social media at Double PHQ. My name is Bubba. It's me and my New York accent, lovely. Here we go. It's my New York accent, love. You can find me on social media at Fit and Trim. That's FITTENTRIM at Fit and Trim on social media.
This here's Catfish. You'll hit me up. I'm at G to the man. As we all know, that's GEETOTHEMAN. You can hit me up there on that liberal Twitter, which I like to call Blue Sky.
Blue Sky.
And then you can hit me up on Instagram. Check me out.
And you'll hear us next time on
IceCold.
We've been talking, I don't know how long, and I'm still pissed off you said about my droopy eyes like Dr. Walter. Still.
You get some, I don't know, you can find some medication for that.
Yeah, he says, I'm going to speak in tongues, put a curse on you.